Hi Dan. I figured this might be the easiest way of doing this. Anyway, it's a fairly simple system. The vacuum pump is probably the smallest one that you can get. Mine actually came as part of a vacuum bagging kit from Woodcraft. I'll give you a source for other stuff, but you turn it on, it just plugs in, runs continuously, makes very little noise. You can very easily I've just got a piece of shelf liner, that way it doesn't vibrate, you won't scratch a floor. What I've got here is just a gauge, primarily better for using with a vacuum bag to see what your pressure is. I added a little filter to it just to keep the junk from a construction site from possibly getting sucked up. This hose just came from the local Lowe's. The little fittings that are involved with it are called John Guest fittings. What I've got here, and what I made here is that it's basically just a piece of plastic block. You can actually get scraps, I believe, from Woodcraft. You go ahead and drill it and tap it, put in a barb. You have to drill a hole that connects in through that hole for your vacuum. The biggest problem I have is getting disconnected from a wall. So what I've done is added another little John Guest fitting here so that we can just connect it. It'll pull a vacuum, and then when I need to release it, of course I'm not holding this, it's stuck on the wall. You just press this in and pull it loose and it'll come undone. The heart of it all is, besides the vacuum pump, is the little roll of tape. And whereas in most cases you're going to be working on a spot where you're going to have stiles to connect to, you just run your tape. And of course, the bigger an area you enclose in this, the stronger clamping pressure you get. So I'm just making this fairly narrow, hopefully, to demonstrate on my stiles. Of course, I probably will have made it too wide. Just butt it up together. Make sure you don't have a crack right there. And you can do all sorts of things with it now. I'm hooking it up. Sorry, I'll move the camera in a second. Okay, now if we look up, it's just sitting there. I don't have to have a helper anymore. If you wanted to, you could certainly use it in a long room by putting this end flush up against a corner, dropping down on your ceiling. I always go ahead and mark my crown with the line on the ceiling and let it run wild on the bottom. But you can cut a slot for a tape measure. Let me pull this guy loose. And sorry, now we're back. That's all there is to it. If you want a lot of clamping pressure, it works on a wall. It normally doesn't harm paint unless you've done it. You can certainly run your tape further around. I will send you the website address for where I bought the plastic blocks. You could always cut them smaller, and then just find locally your little barbs and get several of them if that's what you want to do. You could also make yours fancier and cut a little profile in here for your crown if you're usually using one type of cabinet in one dimension. But anyway, I'm sure you could find a sustainer that it all fits in. After this, I guess you have lots of different options, because you could actually do a multiple system, and whereas I think we were talking about 13 pounds per square inch, I believe even in this case you're going to have almost 40 pounds of pressure. You might be able to, in some instances, be able to take two and put a spreader or a clamp across them to pull things in if you're worried about damaging. But anyway, just thought that might help.